we are expressing ourselves, and we are open, and then we are bonding with each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody from this group? Simone?
We said that effective communication within the family is important because due to clarity, there's some issues in families where some things are said and no one really understands them. So when you have good communication, things are sorted or bashed out or flows properly.
Thank you. Anyone from this group?
We've written a few things down, but you've told us to, I guess, share two. Number 2 on our list is to avoid conflict. And then we'll pick number 6 on our list, which is inclusiveness. I think it's been talked about previously, just have people together.
Thank you, Cyprian. And anyone from this group? Eric?
Hello. So over here we've got bonding. It helps the family bond, and we've got keeps the family aligned. I guess with communication, it helps to us getting everyone aligned in terms of family vision and what each person sees for the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, just very quickly, again, part of the research that was done, and these were some of the answers that came up tops, is why is effective communication important? Because we love our children and want them to grow up to be happy, healthy, and responsible. The next one is because our children love us and want our guidance, approval, and support. That's why effective communication is important. And this one I think is really good, because how, what, and when we communicate helps determine how our children will communicate to others. Children don't listen to what you're saying. They do what you do, or they do what they see. So this is very important. The way we communicate, they go on. It's like when you in a child's school. Have you ever wondered who teaches a 5-year-old or 4-year-old how to be racist? It's because his parents have been saying something at home. So when he gets to school, he's repeating what he has been told. And so that's why effective communication is very important. The 4th one, because children learn values from our words, our tones, our postures. They all send messages to our children about the beliefs and values. You know, sometimes when you do like this and your child is doing this, I say, who taught you that? I learned it from you. You know, because they're looking at you and they're doing that. Final one, because our children will often need good communication skills to address problems or situations in a positive, healthy, and affirming manner. Okay, those are just some of the reasons why it's important. Okay, we're going to go on to this now. If the media team could help me, we're going to play a video.
Okay, so we'll watch a short video. This is a video between a father and a son, and they're discussing a particular issue. So what we would like is obviously watch the video, and with your pads, just jot down whatever you get from the video, positive or negatives, what you think from the video, what could have been said better, or any ideas that you have from watching the video. So I think the video is just a couple of minutes long, and we'll watch that and then discuss further.
Okay.
All right, bear with us.
Now you appreciate. Now you appreciate. I don't think you have proven me wrong in anything. Do you get what I'm coming from? So now you appreciate. Now you appreciate. Yeah.
Alright, Dad. You ready?
Yeah.
Alright, Dad. Be honest. When have I ever proved you wrong?
I don't think you have proven me wrong in anything. Do you get what I'm coming from? So now you appreciate. Now you appreciate.
Okay, can I say things from my point of view?
Yes.
So at that time, I felt like you thought when I move out, I'm gonna go straight to prison, or I'm gonna go and do something stupid and live in a hostel or whatever. So I said, cool. I'm going to show you that I'm going to get my life in order, and that's what I did. Do you know when you're applying for a job, you need proof of address, proof of ID, and all those kind of things. So I've asked Edward to speak to you to get me proof of address, and do you know what you brought me? Bad school reports. Meanwhile, I need like a letter from HMRC or something like that. You brought me bad school reports. So from then I knew that, yeah, you don't need to progress. And you're going to bring me something negative. It's not help.
When two elephants are fighting, okay?
Dad, you're not answering the question.
I'm answering you by giving you this advice. When two elephants are fighting, it's not that they are going to get hurt, but the tree and the leaves around, they get muddy. Do you know how much sacrifice I had for you?
Fair enough.
Because Dad, you don't consider those things.
That's fair, but if I'm looking for a job as well, you don't bring me bad school reports.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense.
So are you still in the past?
Oh, no, I'm not. But
are you still in the past?
Point. You said let the truth be truth.
Yes.
I've done that.
Yes, good.
Okay.
So now move on.
See where you went wrong?
I wasn't wrong in any shape or form.
See where you went wrong?
You see, these are some of the things.
You see where you went wrong?
You're trying to put something in my mouth for me to say it.
No.
And I'm not going to say that I'm wrong. I'm not.
In my mind, I just thought that one there was bad. That one there was very spiteful.
Next question, please.
This one, there's no way my dad's going to agree. Why do you think I sold drugs?
Why do I think you sell drugs? Some people maybe, I don't know, I cannot think for you, but maybe lack of money in the house, lack of things that you want, that maybe your parents cannot afford for you. Maybe that drove you to those things. It's not that every time you ask me something, I will say no. I don't say no to you. I only say no because I cannot afford it. So why did you have to do that?
You've explained it.
Was it peer pressure?
No, I can't believe it. Peer pressure.
So, that's wrong. You got pass. You got edge. Just money, quick money.
No, it's not even that.
One thing I will say to you about this particular episode is it brings a very, very sad taste to my life. It brings a very, very sad taste into my life, and I just, oh God. That's the most horrible, horrible thing. That's the biggest failure in my life, if I can put it in that way. If you want to smoke, fine. If you want whatever, it's up to you. But why do you have to go and say to other people? Do you understand where I'm coming from? That's what makes me angry. It makes me angry. It makes me angry in so many ways that I do appreciate what one has sacrificed to be where he is. You cannot. Are you trying to be selfish? How selfish can you be to put yourself in that situation? Do you consider the environment that you live, how people are going to perceive you? It's not that you are doing it for other people, but I'm big enough, or we are big enough to forgive and forget about it. Do not revisit. that line again. No matter how hard life is, ask, what led you down the negative path? Do you have any regrets about anything?
I'm just eager to get done quickly, everything's smooth. Like, I don't really waste time with it too much. But back then, I felt like I had all the time in the world to do things. Like, I didn't take things as seriously. So that would probably be my regret, like not seeing far into the future, not seeing the effects of what I do.
I mean what we're saying, because it's very, very good. It's a foolish man who thinks he's always right. If you make a mistake and you can correct it, it's good.
Okay. It's a good question. What is your best memory with me, and what was it?
I would say the day you were born.
I knew you was going to say that.
Yes, the day you were born. But, you know, things, I think, because you were my first son, I was so happy. And that day I have to rush to the hospital.
Was you late?
Yes, I have to rush to the hospital. And everything was great. I was happy. And at least, first time being a dad wasn't a bad thing. And I was proud of myself. What is your best memory with me and why?
There's not really a best memory. I'll say a best period in time. I'll probably say like now, the friendship, the kind of relationship we have is more like a friendship where we both kind of advise each other and like we both understand each other more. So I won't say there's a best memory. It's just like how we understand each other now. Like everything is smooth. Dad, blow my eye, please. One more.
I wish I have alcohol in my mouth.
Thank you. This all solves the problem. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. All right, so in your groups for about 3 minutes, you should have been jotting them down already. Positives and negatives you picked out from that video alone, or some assumptions that you've made. What did you like about that video, or what didn't you think?
Pads on your tables, you can write on those. Pens and pads, you can write some ideas down.
Yeah, there are pens and pads for you.
Okay.
Yeah?
Take 2 minutes. 2 more minutes and then we'll come together.
Yeah, what do you think? I was going to write to you, I didn't have time to write to you.
Okay, guys. So I think what we'll do from each group, we'll just take one positive and then go around, and then we can take maybe a negative. So who's speaking from this group? Mariam, if you just give us one positive, please, that you guys have talked about.
So accountability was one positive that we saw. And the negative, I think there were points where the dad wasn't really listening, and also lack of communication.
Okay.
Admitting that he made an error in terms of the documents. So his son asked him for something and he brought something else. And he could have just said, okay, I made a mistake. But he didn't want to take on that.
Did you all get that?
Thank you.
Put your hands together for...
All right, we'll take from this group, go with what Mariam did. One positive, one negative. Come on, Simone.
Oh dear. You could sense a lot of frustration from both sides, which meant there's like lack of communication, and that was being, both of them were being very judgmental towards each other. The positive side was that at the end they had a friendship as he grew older, and they were working on their relationship.
Thank you, Simone. Okay, one positive and negative from this group. Who's speaking? Cyprian?
Okay. Actually, sorry, before we go into our positive and negative, there was an overall summary which you guys will probably come into, and it was pretty much saying there was a mixing of two cultures. We just need to be cognizant of the environment and the cultural differences. That was the sort of takeaway. Okay.
Can you hear that? The cultural differences.
So we observed that there were mixing of two cultures. So we as parents, we need to be cognizant of the environment we're in and about the differences in the culture, and that will help. Yes, yeah. That was the observation. In terms of the positive, I think the friendship at the end was quite warming, because we noticed when the son asked the dad the best period, because the son sort of knew that was when he was born. So there was a smile on his face. And the negative had already been said in terms of, forgiveness. It just felt in the first conversation that they hadn't really moved on from it, and you could just see the sort of back and forth. Does that cover what we said? Next time someone's going to have to speak.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together. In this group, who's having a go?
Okay, what are the points?
So just one positive, one negative thing from the video.
Okay. Yeah, the negative was especially about the father was about himself, me, myself, and I. They kept saying things like the sacrifices I made, what I've done for you, etc. It was all about himself. Yeah, that was the negative side of things, and that still didn't go away. But the positive, I think many people have already mentioned that they were talking at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Okay. You wanted to say something?
I think it's the same thing. They've said it all anyway. The father was trying to be a proper African dad. That's the way he was acting. But the boy was going wrong, going towards the bad way, which the dad has to listen. He's supposed to listen so that he can get good thing out of him, but he didn't. But happy ever after. So we thank God to that.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not sure. Actually, maybe you can help me because you're the mathematics guru, right? Negative times negative. What's that? Is that positive? But I think that only happens in mathematics on paper.
Yeah. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah? 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to talk through some key points. And yes, I know there's so many things. For example, the dad said something. He says, you bring a negative taste to my life. If someone said that to you, that you, not the situation, he says you bring a negative taste, how would you feel if someone said that to you? Yeah? Yeah, let's hear. Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Oh.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. My view on that is that from what they said at first, we should take cognizance of the culture. Every parent, every father or mother wants to see their kids progress. So your son going to prison brings a bitter taste to any mother. I think that's what it, but irrespective of what the boy has done, I mean, the way it came out is very judgmental, and I wouldn't like it if my father said that to me anyway. You know?
But thank you very much. Thank you very much. Particularly the language, you bring a negative taste to my life.
Good afternoon. I think personally it's the fact that when you're raised a certain way, the language you speak relates to how you were brought up. And so to us, we look at it from a different angle and it looks bad. But to the father and to the culture in which he was raised, it's a normal thing that people say. We're looking at it from a different point of view.
One more here.
And just to speak on the back of that, I think also you have, I'm very conscious about the language difference as well. I don't see it as he's saying, you're a disappointed in my life. I think he meant that the actions that you took, that situation was disappointing to me in my life. So you have to actually look at in terms of, I don't know, like background, education. So for him, he was like, I'm so disappointed that you did that. I'm not disappointed in you as a person. I'm disappointed in your behavior, in your action. So I think you just have to be, I don't know, like kind of, I don't know, look at the language a little bit. Because maybe it's just the phrasing. Sometimes we just, the way we speak and how the interpretation as well. And that's not, I didn't see it as he was saying that you're a bad son and you are a disappointment in my life. I think my taking on that was that part of time in your life was a disappointment for me in my life. And the only time you'll disappoint someone is if you're really proud of them and you're proud of who they are and, you know, you love them. Okay. So that's how I saw it.
Okay.
So it's just, I think, language.
Okay, please put your hands together for more.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take. Okay. All right.
I will have to disagree with the whole disappointment logic. I feel that if you've done something as an adult child, you take responsibility for it, but that should not be any parent that parent there should not take it upon themselves to be a reflection of them, because at the end of the day, I have many African friends who've told me that parents not me would seem like, what would people think about me where if you've done something wrong. So the society thinks what that child has done as a bad thing, and that's a reflection on the parents. So.
Okay.
It's true. I don't think as an adult child.
Sorry, just so that they can hear you.
I don't think that as an adult child that parents should take responsibility for their children, but I think it's just an inherent connection that you have with your children, that it's very hard to not it's like when you're with a partner, it's like, you know, you get married or whatever, because you have that connection, you're kind of connected in a way that their actions will disappoint you. But that's your child. So even though I agree with what you're saying, that I think every adult should be responsible, I think it's just a natural thing. It's like a human automatic thing that you just be like, I'm, you know, disappointed in you.
So perhaps adults should be more conscious.
To be more conscious, not to take it on themselves like they've done something wrong. Because I think, you know, as children grow up, parents aren't the only influence. You know, they go to school, they want to be cool, they want to make more money. It's also external influences like society as well, not just parents.
Okay, because I think the dad mentioned something there. How will people perceive me?
Yeah.
It's not him that did this thing, but people are perceiving him. And I think maybe it's a cultural thing where your child does something, but it's about me.
Yeah.
No, it's just a quick example. Because I just look back in my cousin way, like when she did something wrong, the mom we took it upon ourselves to call the child a bastard. And for us Africa, that we go in Africa, bastard doesn't mean anything. We just take it like, yeah, I'm a bastard. But for them here, if my mom called me like, oh, you're a bastard, we'll be like, me bastard? They will take it personally. So I think the whole scenario there is because the culture different. What the dad said doesn't really that strong, but the way he takes it, like, no, how can you say that to me? That's the only thing.
I'm going to go over there very quickly. I want somebody who hasn't spoken, just so that
good afternoon. There's one thing that the dad says, you know, the law of attraction is the natural world, the way they created us. Our children shall be our pride, shall be a reflection, a testimony. He asked him, he said, why don't you just smoke yourself, but you sell to others? So you became a destruction to yourself and to others. So you are a bad thing because you are not killing just you are killing everyone else. I am ashamed of that action, because you never want to be a parent of someone that is killing everybody around you. That's where the disappointment came from.
Well spotted. I think we still go back to the cultural issue. It's so difficult as a parent to say your kids will not be a reflection of you. I remember even when I got married and having 2 kids, and my dad was living with me at this point. He visited me, and he said something and I didn't agree, and I said, Daddy, no, that's wrong. And he almost slapped me. I was married with 2 kids. It just goes to say, as a child, your dad will always see you as a child, and that reflection will always be there. So it's difficult to...
Yeah, thank you. Okay, we can't take everything. Because actually, there's something else I wanted to... Did anybody feel... Okay.
Can I say something? Just listening to what everyone is saying about culture, from what the dad said, I'm just thinking, one of the things we talked about is being open to change and understanding that there's that difference in culture. Now, if the father knows that the son is of a different generation and would not maybe take that statement positively, should he have worded it differently, given that there's an openness of change and that understanding that my son grew up in a different time? So those maybe, I would use this word, those harsher statements would not reflect well or be listened to the way he's said it. Am I clear? Because that's where I'm thinking. The father, yes, his background, but then the son is of a different generation and the listening is different. So I feel, and I got that the son heard his father differently, even though the father was saying something, the hearing was different for the son. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just wanted to touch on that, really.
Communication goes both ways. And someone said, if you're talking and you're not communicating, stop talking. Because the whole point of talking is to communicate. You know, but it seems sometimes there's a barrier. One person keeps going, and the other person is not even listening. And so I think, and this is why we're all here, to learn, because sometimes we do things and we don't actually know it's not effective, or what we're doing is not, you know, not effective. All right, anyway, there's so many things you can pick up from that video. Another thing I would say is a question. The very first question he asked, I can't even remember the question, but then the father begins to answer the question, and he's talking about elephants.
So he said, were you ever wrong? Something on that.
I can't remember, but he started talking about elephants. Now, did anybody discover who the elephants are and who the grass was? Did that make any sense at all? Yeah? Let me hear from somebody who hasn't spoken. Tell me about the elephants.
I don't know.
Obviously, the elephant was the dad, and the son was the grass. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, wait, one moment. The question is, it's not the phrase that's the problem, because I understand that. How does it relate to this issue and this two? Who's the elephant? Who's the grass?
I think from where the dad was coming from, Africans were used to proverbs and parables. Now, in that scenario, it was the boy asked a question and the dad was trying to answer the question in a way that, would I say, not accept his responsibility or accept he was wrong in any way. So he had to put it in a way, we're both fighting. So he used the proverb of, if two elephants are fighting, who suffers? The grass also suffers. Everything around it would shake. Everything suffers means in a family, if a father and a mother are having an argument, the children also feel it. If the children have a fight, the parents also feel it. That's the proverb. That's what he was trying to let the son understand.
Thank you. I understand the proverb, but I want, in this scenario, he said, I wanted some stuff for my ID from HMRC, but you bought me bad school report. When two elephants are fighting,
I think it's unrelated. It's unrelated. It's unrelated.
How do you relate that? Did you think the father was being evasive? He was not trying to answer the question. I'm just asking, I'm throwing this up.
The proverb didn't have anything to do with the scenario. Because if we were talking about two elephants, it would have been the father and the son. Meaning that the grass and the trees that got affected would be the people that surround them. Maybe their other loved ones would have been the people that would have affected, not necessarily, what he was trying to say. So they are both the two elephants fighting with people around them that suffers. But in this case, he didn't have any.
Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody's getting what I'm saying. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. The two elephants are definitely the two people fighting.
But how is it related to the conversation?
How does it relate to, I told you to bring me some stuff that I can use to find a job. You brought me bad school reports.
I think if you look at for the first question, it wasn't related, but if you look at the entire conversation, I think what he's saying is what happened affected and had an impact on everyone. So he was being evasive where he was saying, we're fighting about this issue that's happened and it's had an impact on the family. We haven't spoken for a year. But the fact that he missed the document and bought the wrong one, that wasn't related. So he was still kind of in the past, you've done this thing and this is the result of it.
Felix?
Okay.
Let's take one. Felix, one more from here quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I personally think what he was trying to say was the fact that there was an unsolved issue by him still still trying to move on and saying as if that problem had been solved. It's not solved. The father was still at that point where he was still being very hurt about how his first son, if you looked at how he was so blessed and he felt great, and he wanted that clarity. And I think that's where the story comes about, is when two elephants are fighting. You are at a different place, and I'm at a different point, and we're fighting and we're asking for two different things.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hello, can we look at it this way? Because we are not, the mother was not reflecting in the video. Maybe there is a separation between the mother and the father. And then that's the phrase that where the two elephants are fighting, maybe the boy lacked motherly training or love. That's why I said maybe where two elephants are fighting, the grasses suffer. The child might be suffering because they are not together.
Okay.
But the mothers love to be there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, I mean, she has actually made a very strong point that, yeah, because we're basing our views on assumptions. Okay, that's a very strong assumption that it's possible that the parent and the mother, they're two elephants. But on the topic that maybe the son and the father are the elephants, my view is that what the father was just trying to say, that when two people are fighting, things get messy. And anything, there are no boundaries, anything can happen. It was just saying that, look, things go out of control, you don't do the right thing. I think that was my interpretation of what he was trying to say.
All right, thank you, thank you. Like I said, what we said in the beginning, we all have different perspectives, but what is good is an open discussion and being able to perhaps learn from somebody else and see things from a different perspective. Yeah. Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on because of time. This developmental task of children and adolescents. This is something. If we had a lot of finances, we would have given you a pack and you can take away. But we're just going to run through this very quickly and move on to the next thing. So this is talking about some of the questions that they need to answer for themselves. And it's important that they understand it. So the question, am I competent? In other words, you're trying to build them and you're saying, if they can answer this, what do I do well? What do I do well? You know, developing skills, abilities, strengths to prepare for independent lives as adults. And I think perhaps that's one thing as well. Somebody talked about responsibility, not taking responsibility of an adult. It's amazing sometimes where you see a child do something and the child is already an adult, but the parent still wants to take responsibility for what their child is doing, or they're saying, you must do it this way, you must do it this way. At some point, every child should live an independent life to be able to make decisions for themselves. So answering this question goes to help in that. Am I normal? You know, am I like everyone else, or is there something wrong with me? And sometimes the language we use may tell the child, I've got a problem. The thing about words is you can say something today, but it doesn't take effect until 20 years later. Because the child is, although he's an adult, he remembers those words that were said. And it can actually taint his outlook on life and the way he interacts with other people. And so that's why it's important that the words that we say is looked at. Am I normal? Learning to feel comfortable and at ease with his or her body, his thoughts, their feelings, when they're changing from child to adult. Am I loving? Am I capable of loving others? Am I lovable? I'm going to move past this because we can send this to you. If you registered and you want it, we can send it to you so that you can help your child build the confidence that they need and to help them later in life. This one now, we're going to have, who's got the negative, the roadblocks? Roadblocks? Who's got the roadblock? I think what we'll do is, if we'll just do S1, maybe S1, S2, S3, S4. Let's just do that. We're going to do an exercise now in your groups. I'm mindful of the time, so I'm trying to... Okay, if we just share 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 2 each for each group. Yeah, 2 each. Is that a positive one? That's the no. So we're not doing that one yet. Yeah, so we just
yes.
Yeah. Okay, so in your groups, I want you to pick up one of the cards that says the S, that has the S on it. And one person picked the S and the other person picked the red card, the R. Yeah, so if we just give it, yeah, who's yeah. And I just want you to read it, and then the S response, S4 responds to R, R4 responds to S4, R1 responds to R, S1. Okay, so very quickly, within your groups, can you just look at it very quickly? So you read out what's on your card, and then the red will respond to you.
Are we responding to this?
No. So you can have that. Where's the red?
This is red.
Yeah? So give one person the red. Yeah?
Comes next.
So this is SR7. Where's... Yeah? So you say this, and she will respond to you.
The question. Yeah.
So you say this, he will respond to you.
This isn't the response.
Yeah?
So you said red is the response.
Okay, look at that question.
What's that one? Yeah. So resuming it, just glue was on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try and put as many actions into this. Like you're the parents.
How's it going here?
Okay, so this is assuming you want to go to the cinema and you want to take the car, yeah? And so you have to respond. So this is probably somebody around 16 who's got their driving license, but they're still in school. So now...
So the age is 16?
Yeah?
Asking to go for a concert, they're 16? Right, okay.
And just for a few moments, perhaps talk about some of the feelings. Okay, so we're going to stop now. Yeah? So that the rest of whoever has R1 is going to let them say it. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Let's come together now. Roadblocks to effective communication. So basically, things that can stop or can be a barrier to effective communication. That's what we're looking at. Who's got R1 and S1? S1, okay. So S1, please. S1, can you just read out S1? So S1, read out what it is.
Mom, I'm not sure what to do about my class schedules this year. It's really tough with all the extras I've got to do.
Okay, and then what's the response? R1.
You should take every math and science course offered. You ought to see how important that is.
Okay, so in your minds, just be thinking, what's wrong with that conversation? What's stopping that conversation from going to let me use the word, a fruitful place or a better place. So R1, judging. Did any of you feel there was judgment in that response or in that conversation? Making a judgment. You should. You ought to. Yeah? Okay, let's move on very quickly. S2. Who's got S2? Yeah? Just somebody. Please try and put a bit of character, a bit of emotion into it.
Dad, that boy just took my truck.
Okay, thank you.
It's your problem, you solve it.
Okay. That's a good one. All right. Rejecting. Giving no support. By the way, if you want to write something in your pads, in your white pads, please feel free to do that. Giving no support. It's your problem, not mine. You know? Okay. S3 quickly.
S3?
S3, yeah?
Mom, the jar of glue just fell over on the floor.
Okay.
What's that? Is that the response? Okay. Look what you did. The carpet is ruined. It's all your fault.
Okay. So, blaming or criticizing, okay? Placing fault on the other person, it's your fault. Has anybody ever made a mistake here before? Oh, sorry, you've never made a mistake. Yeah? You know, we all make mistakes. We're opening something spills over. So we must be mindful. S4. Who's got S4?
What's your
Okay. By the way, do we have the other one? Maybe we'll do the other one.
S4 says, your 8-year-old got dressed for school. Orange and blue shirts, green and yellow striped pants, red socks, sandals and a basketball hat.
Only a clown would dress like that for school.
Okay, all right. Labeling, calling names or words that are negative. Only a dummy, only a clown would do that, okay? S5.
Dad, it's not my fault. Dad, it's not my fault. My maths teacher hates me.
Okay.
Let me tell you about my boss. You think you've got troubles.
Thank you. Okay, so transference. Always transferring your own life issues to somebody else. You know, not listening and jumping in with one's own problems. So let me tell you what happened to me. He's trying to say, Dad, I have a problem in school. He said, no, let me tell you. S6. S6, anybody?
I think I'll go to the movie. I think I'll go to the movies tonight, Mum.
You will not. You are going to stay at home and study. You are going to bring your grades up.
Okay, so ordering, you know, giving solutions with no choices. You must do this. You know, like one of the things we read, effective communication, is making sure at some point the child begins to make decisions for themselves. And a good way to do that is to give options. If you do this, this is what may come of it. If you do that, this is what may come. And then they get to choose to do that. Okay? S7.
S7?
But Dad, it is the last night for Star Wars and I haven't seen it.
If you don't study, there will be no car this weekend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Threatening or bribing. Threatening or bribing. Using threats or bribes to try to make someone do something. If you don't do what I want, if you don't do what I want, I'll do this. Or if you do what I want, I'll do this for you. Okay? All right. S8.
Mum, I really need to know if I can go to the concert on Saturday night.
We'll see. I'll have to think about it.
Did y'all hear that? Yeah? Okay. Waffling. And I wonder maybe if you've ever done this before, well, or you know someone that's done this. It's not, you're not sure, you know? Persistently repeating orders or requests. I've told you 1,000 times. How many times? Yeah? Okay. S9.
I will pick up the puzzles later, Dad.
I'm not going to tell you again. I've told you 10 times to pick it up now.
Okay.
Thank you.
So nagging, persistently repeating orders. I've told you 1,000 times. That's why I thought that was wrong. That's supposed to be something else. Okay, the non-verbal, S10, S10. So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Can somebody, can you please stand up and demonstrate, or demonstrate, is it, no, you're sitting there, I think, but put some actions into it.
Your child comes home from school and slams the door shut, drops his or her clothes on the floor, kicks the cabinet, and turns on the TV.
You frown, cross your arms, tap your feet, and stand in front of your child.
Okay, I think.
Tapping your feet, like, get on with it, and pick up your things off the floor.
Thank you. Please put your hands together for them.
Thank you, guys.
So acting, using body language that sends negative messages or that rebuffs being physically abusive. Crossing your arms, not looking at the speaker. You know, how many of you like it when you're talking to someone, they're not even looking at you? You know, that's why sometimes you say, are you listening? Because you're trying to get their attention. And they say, no, I'm listening, I'm listening. You know, and it's important that we do that. Or walking away, yeah? Walking away, tapping your feet, shaking your finger in somebody's face, hitting and kicking. Okay, all right. Can we do the other one now? Okay, let's have the other one. If we could just put all the blue cards together and the red cards together. Thank you very much. I want to look at building blocks. Okay, Sam, if we just distribute to as many people. Okay. What we're going to do is we're just going to go straight into it because of time. We're not going to... yeah, just give everyone SR1, S1, yeah. Let me help you. This is the model of that's 3, that's 2, that's
No. 3.
So you have from R1, R2, R3.
Yeah, maybe S1 to 3 then.
Sorry, who's got R4? Who's got S4? You have the responses?
Yeah.
So who's got R? You got it? S, R, 2, 3, and 1. R1, R2, R3. This is you got it? Okay. All right, let's start. Okay, so if you can look at your cards, please. Do we all have cards? No. Is this the old one? Yeah, let's put the old ones inside. Yeah, that goes together.
Okay.
That goes together. Yeah, that goes together. So we can share it. Okay, S1, please. So we want to look at effective buildable. S1, who is S1? S1, okay, let's go quickly. No. S1.
S1, okay. Dad, it's been a terrible day, absolutely horrible. I really messed up. I should read them together.
So let's have the response. R1.
Would you like to tell me about it? I just listen.
Okay. Listening is very important. When people feel they're being heard, it's very important. So focusing on the present, not bringing up the past. Sorry. So listening, focusing on the present, not bringing up the past, or mistakes or problems, or 3 years ago you did this, 2 years, that's how you always not bringing that up. And creating safety is important for the child. You just imagine if somebody always reminded you of something you did wrong. You know, it just makes you feel down, okay? So I feel that right now you need me to just listen to you. Everybody likes to be listened to. S2.
Look at what I made with my blocks and chunks and stick.
You worked a long time to build your city, and look at how you used every block.
Okay, all right. Praising, giving earned rewards frequently, recognizing efforts rather than products or end results. Sometimes as human beings, we wait for a grand gesture, something big at the end. But sometimes it's just the little things that builds up that person's confidence. Am I making some sense? Yeah, okay. So, S3? Yeah.
I hate you.
I love you and feel very sad when you say that.
Okay. Feeling. Sharing feelings such as anger, joy, and frustration using I statements. I, right? I feel. I'm so angry when you. I love you. Those are very helpful. S4. Who's got S4?
S4?
Mom, I don't know what to do. He says he will break up with me if I don't go all the way.
What can I do to help you with this tough decision?
Thank you.
Okay. Respecting. letting others make decisions, avoiding judging and advising, trying to help him or her make his own decision. It's your choice. What can I do to help? Okay. I know it sounds like a gray area, or like, wow, they're just going to make the biggest mistake of their life. But sometimes you need to put people in the right direction by giving them the options. Particularly this in, I don't know, for many people, or for some people, I've heard this many times, in many African homes in particular, where maybe a girl says, oh, Mom, I don't know, when I see that guy, I feel somehow. I think I'm in love. Shut up. What do you know about love? Have you read your book? Go and read your book, you know. Can you see? Or they even go as far as tell the lady, if any guy tells you I love you, he wants to kill you. He wants the end of you. And they, you know, I don't know if you've heard this as well. If you sit down on the chair, if a guy sits on the chair, you must wait 2 hours to pass, because if you sit on the same chair, you'll get pregnant. Yeah, you've heard that before. Yes, things like that. And then the girl goes to school. She sees that a guy sat down, her friend sat on it, she didn't get pregnant. So guess what? She's questioning everything Mom told me. Even though Mom was trying to protect her, but Mom, in trying to protect her, added some stuff that's not true. So guess what? She doesn't know the boundaries now. So instead of Mom to have said, if you do this, this is what can happen, and blah, 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 you must be careful. So before she knows it, maybe she sleeps with the guy, she falls pregnant, because she didn't really know the boundary. She thought the boundary was the chair. Am I making some sense? Okay. S5. S5?
I can't believe my teacher is giving me a C on my paper. I worked really hard and did everything he told me to do.
Okay. What's the response?
You sound very frustrated and disappointed. Is that right? Would you like to talk about it?
Okay. Okay. Listening again is important. Identifying the feeling as well as the content, and asking the person to confirm it. Yeah? So it sounds like you were very frustrated. Yeah? Confirming. That's S6.
Who's got S6?
Who's got S6?
Yes. She's a good driver. She's careful and makes everyone wear a seatbelt. Can I ride to the lake with her?
He says, I know I can trust you and you have good judgment.
Thank you. Okay, so S6, we're talking about trusting, being consistent, asking for input, and understand that children need to learn in their own way, even if they make mistakes. I know this is a hard one, because there's an I don't know if it's an African proverb that it's the adult can see farther than the child. The adult can see farther sitting down than the child can standing up. And you know why? It's because of experience. But even sometimes the child should be allowed to make some mistakes. Some mistake, maybe not massive mistakes, you can't obviously, but you need to allow, because that's part of growing up. Am I making some sense? This is something. So I know you will be, sorry, what's that? I know you'll be thoughtful and responsible. Okay. In fact, I think that gives you a higher responsibility. When somebody says, okay, I know you're going to that party, but I know you'll be thoughtful and responsible. And so when you're there, you're thinking responsibility. I don't know. It works for different people. S7. Yeah.
Dad, look at me. Look at me. I swam to the... sorry, I have a northern accent, so... Dad, look at me. Look at me. I swam to the other side of the pool.
you're such a good swimmer and know how to be safe in the water.
Okay. Affirming, finding the positive to express. And I think as parents, as youth workers, as, you know, we need to be able to affirm. You can find something good. Actually, you can find something good in everybody, even the devil. Yeah? Affirming someone, you know. Okay, so finding the positive. S8. S8? Okay.
You won't believe what she said and did to me. I'll never be her friend again.
Okay, what's the response?
You sound very angry with her. Is that right? Or would you like to talk about it?
Okay. Reflective listening. Reflective. So someone said something and you reflected over it. Okay. So let me just read it, what it says. Reflecting what another says, paraphrasing a person's words so he or she knows she has been heard. Okay. And actually that's helpful. And all this we're talking about is actually transferable skills, you know, in your workplace and things like that. Because sometimes we think we heard what they said, but actually we heard something else in our head. And one good way to confirm that is just repeat what they said. And when you say it, they'll probably say, oh no, I didn't say that. And they say, oh, so tell me what you said, you know. So you sound angry about your friend. Is that so? They may say, no, I'm not angry. Okay. S9. S9. Is it S9 here? Okay.
I hate him. He's such a dummy. I don't care if I ever play with him again.
Can you tell me more about what happened with him?
Clarifying. Asking for more information when unsure. Could you tell me more about your fight with your friend? S10. S10? Yeah.
Your child comes home from school, slams the door shut, drops his or her clothes on the floor, kicks the cabinet, and turns on the TV.
What's the response? Aaron? I'll turn now.
You sit next to your child, hold his or her hand, look him or her in the eye, and then tell him or her that you would like to know why he or she is so angry.
Okay. This brings to a point. When was the last time you hugged your child? You know, just showing affection. So finding physical ways to show care, concern, and attention. Making eye contact. Eye contact is such a little thing, but it's powerful. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Can you please put your hands together for yourself?
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Okay, we're beginning to round up now, but I think that's the one to it. So we just want to talk about steps to active listening. Yeah.
Okay, so just I'll read through some steps to active listening. Since we're running out of time, so I'll just go through a few things.
Okay.
So here's a scenario. Your 16-year-old teen asked his or her mom, can I go to the prom?
Yeah. So look at this thing.
The steps, these are just some suggestions. Encouraging, sound open and positive before you make a decision. It shouldn't just be a no immediately.
Yeah, so just one moment. When someone says, the scenario says, I want to go to the prom, they're 16-year-old. Basically, remember I was talking about the adult has more experience. You know, maybe you were younger, you knew when you went to the prom, there's some dodgy stuff that went on. And so even before, you just say, no. Okay, and it's important to bring this out. Yeah.
Sometimes, just to add to that, we've all had a situation where a parent has said no, but we did it anyway. So just say no doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It might happen behind your back in another way. So a response will be, tell me more about the prom. It's wonderful that you want to go. So that will open up communication, a conversation, and you find out more. Also finding out, getting some facts, get some information to make a decision or state your idea. Who will be there? What time is it? Where is it? When is it? Why? How? So get some more information and ask the child to tell you more. Restating, understanding the fact, be clear about what the other person is asking. So talk to your child, be clear what they're asking with the information you've gathered from the facts that you found. So an example will be, what you're asking me is, can you go to the prom and stay out all night? So, and you see what response comes out of there. Because I think when a child says, I'm going to the prom, I guess a parent already assumes they're staying out all night anyway. But it could, when you find out more facts, it could be, you know where I said where, when, or how. It could be a few hours. But if you already make that assumption and you're quick to respond, you won't get the facts to find out more about the event itself. Reflecting. Identify your feelings and the feelings of the other person. So a response could be, I know you're excited about the prom, and you'll probably be disappointed that you cannot stay out all night. I'm glad that you get to go. Okay? So that could be obviously something to respond. If you're saying they can go but for a certain amount of time, giving them an option. Summarizing, clearly state the decision or agreement. So an example of that response could be, this is my decision. You can go to the prom, go to the party afterwards, and be home by 2 a.m. Or, this is what we agreed upon. You can go to the prom, go to the party afterwards, and be home by 2 a.m. Is that right?
Okay, so obviously this is just an example. It can be 10 p.m., it can be 9 p.m. or whatever, it doesn't have to be 2. But it's important to clarify what we agree. This is an agreement. I will allow you to go, but these are the conditions. Because you don't want waffling, or you don't want, you said go, and then you come back at 6 a.m. in the morning and you say, where have you been? Well, Dad, you said I could go. You need to clarify that. And so also they know their boundaries. They know I'm going, I've got to be back by this time. That's the condition. Okay. Right.
Just to add to that, that also could give the child a responsibility, like that they feel responsible for the time that they come back. So that also builds their confidence as well, I believe, giving them that understanding and saying, that's right, this is what we agreed upon. So it's up to them to be back at that time. So they take that on as a responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And even taking it a bit further, aside from the timing, you can also say something like, make sure you don't get into any fights, you don't get into this, you don't do anything, so that when they go out there, or they know, okay, the friend may be telling them to do this, but then they're saying, no, Mom would not approve of this. Nah, I'm only here, I'm not doing that. I've got to be back home. So it just gives that responsibility to do that. It's amazing because children are actually smart. So yeah. Okay, so we're rounding up now. Reflecting about communication, and you can write this in your pads, please. You can write this in your pads. Reflect about your communication with your child, if you have one. Okay? So, reflect on that. How do you think your communication is with your child? Is it good? If you're going to give it on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put it? So this is you being reflective now, you know. There's no right or wrong answer. It's whatever you know. Could it be better? Would you give yourself 100 over 10? You may. Just, it's your reflection. This is you. Okay. And then also I just want you to answer this question as well. What did you learn today? Today I learned whatever it is, or one thing I'm going to do differently than my parents is, or you say, one thing I'm really proud of, maybe something you're really good at. It's on the next page. Basically on this stuff.
Okay. So that's it, guys. We're all done. Thank you for everyone thank you for participating and being involved in the discussions that we had. So just a quick summary. We talked about what makes a family healthy, strong, and successful. We talked about why effective communication is important. We also had discussions about, we ran through that quite quickly, but developmental tasks for children and adolescents. And we also talked about the building blocks, the roadblocks and building blocks to effective communication. And we talked about steps of active listening, and just now we reflected on communication with our children. So those are the things that we talked about today. It was very helpful listening to everyone, listening to all the ideas. Any questions? Anyone? Does anyone have any question about anything that we talked about today at all? Any questions?
Yeah, the previous question I have was with that one that they narrated, that if you want to communicate with your child, you need to use landline, now mobile. So I don't get that, because they both communication. So I don't know if you understand that. Like the question, when they introduce it, like she will use the landline.
No, what he meant is, especially when you get children growing to their teenage age, for example, they have mobiles, and if you ring a child on their mobile, they could be anywhere and tell you I'm at home. And for you to confirm, sometimes you have a landline. If you speak to your children always on their landline, you would know they're home, because they need to be home to get the landline. But when you ring them outside, where are you? I'm home. They start line, and from one line, they keep.
That can be flawed, because most people don't have landlines anymore, so what then?
I think it was just an example, really. It was just one example of what their own idea of how they think. It was about effective communication.
I would say if that child has a mobile phone, you can ping the location. Yeah, you can ping the location. I have a 13-year-old, and I can ping my child's location. There's an app that you download. Yeah. So you can if the child says I'm at home, you're like, no, you're not here. You're actually at this location. Okay. Well, sometimes you can put it without them knowing that it's there. So it's a share.
Okay.
So what she's trying to say is that app is going to be on your phone. You will allow your child to know that you have that app to know where you live.
Yeah, but on the child's own phone also. She has how to use it. Well, there's also there's also apps that you can put through the dark net where the child cannot turn off. they have like to have special codes to put in to the phone for them to turn off, unless the child is an genius.
Okay, thank you. Let's take another question.
Somebody needs to tell me Yeah, it's just a follow-up on follow-up to the questions here, because when I heard it about chasing your children around with landline, you see, the thing is that I think the best thing is that just be friends with your children, because for you to be chasing your child around with a landline means something has already gone wrong. They've already started lying to you, you know. So I think being friendly with your children is the best thing, because I say to my children, don't lie to me, no matter how bad it is. Don't lie to me. And I will tell them, I've told them the worst things about how I repeated my class. So when they don't do well, you know, I try to relate to them based on my own experience as well. So being judgmental is out of the question. So if your child does something, so if you are going to use a landline just because you think they are telling you lies, then how do you know when they are telling the truth? It means you don't even know who your children are. So that line, I was inside, I took an exception to it right away. Why? It's mobile, call them on the mobile. But if they start telling you lies, then you failed in your responsibility as a parent.
All right, so I guess you're responding to her question about the landline. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
I think we're extending the same question, because we were the ones that actually put that down in our group, and the thinking was, yes, to actually monitor them, but we then joked about it and said, to be honest, kids can actually just forward the landline to their mobile phones anyway, so they can circumvent it. But it comes back to his comment around the trust should be there, you shouldn't really be snooping around. So it wasn't a question, but just some clarification.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions?
Okay, just before you fill your feedback forms, obviously we want to know how this went for you. And it will really help if you're honest and let us know. There's something I'd just like you to write on there as well. How did you hear about this? Just write it behind the form. Just put it there. It's not on the front, so just put it behind. It's just so that it helps us to know. Would love to do this another time, and we want to know how well we did. Okay. Right. Just so that, because I'm mindful of the time, and I know it's been good. Oh, I just want to call up one of our facilitators, Cyprian, to give us some information, and just wanted to encourage us on, well, actually, he'll tell you when he gets here. Please put your hands together for Cyprian as he comes forward.
We weren't doing it because of time, but it's okay. Hi, my name is Cyprian. I was one of the facilitators. I guess in the feedback, I've already made my comments, but really enjoyable day. The main thing I was going to talk about was actually finance and money. And the reason I bring this up is my background. I work in finance. I've worked in finance over 15 years now. But my passion is financial education, financial literacy, especially us. And I know we have different views, and we talked about money perhaps not being important for family. I think it has a place. I'm not stressing the importance, but I think it has a place, and the place it has is in giving us a bit of freedom, a bit of focus on our child, a bit of time to spend with the children. So I guess what I talk about, and perhaps later I'll share some information, is trying to get us to go beyond what we've learned as kids in terms of save your money. Work hard, save your money. We'll extend it to investing, extend it to putting money away on a monthly basis for your children, thinking about their future. And I guess one of the things I'll tell you to take away, you could explore it later on, is one of the key things for me is life insurance. In our society, we always think when we bring this up with our parents, they will say, God forbid, I'm not dying tomorrow. How dare you say that? But I've observed where families, where one bit of the provider in the family goes away and the whole family struggles from a financial perspective. I know God takes care of us ultimately, but the finance is important. So if there's anything to take away, I'm keeping it brief, but I've got a website, I've got materials, we could do that later, but if there's anything to take away, go explore life insurance. You could find a way to contact me. I haven't got the details here today. I'm not going to sell the product, but just try to educate you on what you should go out and do so that your family can be protected in the case of I guess, a sort of negative events. There are other tiny things you could do in terms of saving for your kids, even if it's £20 a month. When they're 18, that's about £10,000. You won't believe it. Just little things you could do in terms of family. So financial education, financial literacy, I think we need to embrace it more, and it's quite key. I'll look for a way to share some details and contacts, but if you want to chat about it, if you want the education about it, that's what I'm trying to push, really. Thank you. Thanks for the platform.
Thank you very much. Please do, if you want to, please just approach him, feel free. Interesting that, well, Thursday, Friday, I was at a waykeeping and a funeral service of a 38-year-old. Nobody expects to die, you know, or anything like that, but it's just something good. Give your family some peace of mind. Okay, so we're done. You're filling in the feedback forms. Please, I want to do something on the back of your form as well. So number one, where you heard this from, please just write that there. Then number two, as you know, this is a free event. It's been done free. Based on what you gained today, if you were to put a figure, if you were to pay for it, just write, what would that figure be? How much would you pay for an event like this? Just write it at the back of your form. It's just, again, to help us. If you were to pay for it, how much would you pay? How much would you think, oh, okay, I learned a lot today. Actually, I'll pay this, or this has really helped me. This is what I'll pay. You know, consider everything, the chopping, not just the talking. Even the food, you know, everything. How much would you pay if you were to do that? Okay? All right. And I was just speaking to my colleague here, and I thought to myself, we've all, yeah, okay. So I was speaking to my colleague, Are we done with the forms? If we can, yeah, we can just collect it together. So I was speaking to my colleague, and I just thought, this is a free event, and if I'm quite honest, in order to put this together, and this is the first time we did this, actually, or we've done this, yeah? I think, I don't know, do we deserve a round of applause? Yeah? Okay, only one table. Thank you. Thank you.
I feel that as a black community, we should not have to pay for it. We should all.
I feel you asked earlier about putting a figure on events like this. I feel like as a black community, we need to come together more often and talk about things that affect us. So money should not be an issue. It should be like-minded people coming together and discussing stuff. So, yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry, Matt, do you want to... Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the landscape, the economical landscape, the fabric of our society, and young people are killing young people, they're carrying knives and doing all of this stuff. You can see the need for events like this to help us deal with issues that can affect us. Most of the times when things happen and we hear on the news that this has just happened, sometimes you don't think it can affect us, or it's not close to me, it's not my family member. But you can imagine that there's a spiral effect when things are done properly. Even our children can carry that on, but yeah, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Have we finished with the feedback forms over there? We're finished, okay. So I was speaking to my colleague, and I thought to myself, and I want to say something, and please, just like we've said, I don't want anybody to feel obligated in any way. Now, this is a free event, and we did it free. But as some of you may know, there's this saying, there's no free lunch, okay? It's because somebody has paid for it, okay? So please, I don't want anybody to feel obligated. If you feel like you want to donate some money towards this event, because we want to do this again. This is the first one. And like I said earlier on, it's part of a bigger project. We're tackling gun and knife culture, and this is just one in a series of things that are leading up to that. So we're starting from the home, we're starting with communication, and we're going to lead on to getting down to the streets and actually getting those guys off the street. So if you feel like you want to donate to this event, it's very much welcome. What I will do is actually, because we didn't plan for this before. Just one moment. All right, so what I'm going to do is, because we didn't plan this before, we're going to use some envelopes, but like I said, please feel free. If you don't want to, please don't. You're not obligated. We didn't tell you this before. It's just something that will go a long way to help more events like this. I'm just going to pass out, get some envelopes. If you want to put cash in there, that's fine. If you want to use your card, we can get the church to help us process it through there, and then they get it. It's not a church service or anything like that. But by the way, can we just put our hands together for this church? They opened their doors to let us do this, and I think it's very good. It's a very good thing.
And we can put our hands together for ourselves as well. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your ideas, your thoughts. Everything was valid. Everyone's opinion was valid. And thank you all for coming and being at this first event. And like Felix said, we hope to have more events, bigger and better. And we're learning, so we will look back on your feedback forms and build on it. Thank you for your time. We do really appreciate you being here.
So some envelopes are going down, so if you want to fill that